Breaking news. Footage has surfaced of a possible reverse-engineered craft hovering above a suspected black ops site in the Philippines.
This gentleman knows exactly what these were used for because they had like a cylinder on the front, which is either for oxygen or what I hypothesized was for vacuum sealing. Believe me to suspect that they were smuggling narcotics or drugs. Come to find out, it's more disturbing than that. This gentleman has first-hand account with this and says that it was for people.
I didn't talk about this for almost 14 years. It wasn't just fear. It wasn't just that I signed something. It was knowing that if I did say something, if I said it wrong, or to the wrong person, I'd either be discredited or disappeared. Maybe both. But things are different now. There are protections, whistleblower reforms, and I've reached the point where staying silent feels like complicity. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened. No theories, no speculation, just what I saw, what I lived. From the air, Sumatra looked broken. We came in low, the rotors slicing through smoke and haze like dull blades. I leaned out of the Black Hawk just far enough to see the coastline vanish into tangled ruin. Villages flattened, roads peeled up like old tape, boats flung into fields where they didn't belong. The place didn't look damaged. It looked erased. The others stayed quiet. Mooney stared straight ahead. Jenkins chewed gum with that same blank expression he always wore before a drop. Taylor, Rios, Deakins, all locked into themselves. Nobody spoke because we knew something wasn't right. We weren't told much, just humanitarian support, short term. But the loadout we were carrying said otherwise. The pilot buzzed over the comms. Landing Bravo in 30. We banked hard east. The jungle rose up to meet us like a living wall. When we landed, the clearing was all smoke, rot, and cable-strangled tents. My boots hit soft ground and sank in half an inch. The place smelled like diesel and decay. A skinny officer in a soaked uniform waved us over. Lieutenant Fisk, eyes like he hadn't slept in days. Maybe he hadn't. "You the Okinawa 6? He shouted. "Yeah," I said. "Herrera, Jenkins, Mooney, Taylor, Rios, Deakins." He didn't shake hands, just motioned us toward the tent. "Don't unpack." Inside, the air was worse. Humid, still, electric. A map of the region hung from a plywood board. No towns, no roads, just terrain. A red circle drawn in grease pencil marked a spot deep inland. No label, no name, just coordinates. Fisk leaned over a folding table. "Your orders just changed. There's a report, unconfirmed. Looters or armed actors. Locals say people are being pulled out of their homes."
Worry about it! Where are you taking us?
"The village doesn't exist on any registry. We need eyes on it." "Why us?" Mooney asked. "Because you're here," Fisk said flatly. "And because the Indonesian army's pulling bodies out of the sea." We all knew what he meant. This wasn't a choice. 16 clicks on foot, he continued. "No vehicles. GPS might drop. Bring analog gear. No drones. No satcoms. Stay radio silent unless something goes sideways." That set something off in me. "No sat or air backup?" I asked. "You'll be out of the loop," he said. "Soft contact only. Confirm and return." He handed me the map. "Step off at 0200. Pack light. Expect to be gone 18 hours. Taylor asked, "What's the village called?" Fisk hesitated. "Bukit Linyap. Vanished hill. No records exist." The rain started as we left the tent. Steady, metallic, the kind that soaks into your bones. I opened my field notebook, wrote one line, no name, no GPS, no air, no backup. Nothing adds up, and we began prepping to walk into something we weren't trained for, and definitely hadn't been warned about. The jungle closed around us like a fist. It started like any other patrol. Single file, rifles up, eyes forward. But 10 minutes past the tree line, that all broke down. The trail turned to brush. The brush turned to swamp. Taylor hacked ahead with a machete, while Rios scanned our rear. Nobody said a word, unless they had to. Then the quiet started to shift. No birds, no bugs, no wind. You notice that kind of silence, not the peaceful kind. The kind that feels like a mouth breathing right next to your ear. I checked my GPS. It was lagging. Coordinates blinked, froze, then died. I tapped it. Still nothing. Switched to compass, I said. Mooney already had his out. "Still northeast," he said. "Should be cutting into the ravine soon." Back at the start of the trail, a local guide had walked us maybe 20 yards before stopping dead. He looked down the path like it was a place he'd been forced to remember. "Not with you," he said. "Not this place." "Why?" Jenkins asked. "No spirits there," the man said. "Only men who pretend." Then he left, just turned around and disappeared into the haze. Now, that line kept repeating in my head with every step we took. The jungle grew thicker, the air heavier. Something in the canopy was wrong. Too still, too symmetrical. I counted birds perched motionless, not sleeping. Frozen. Hold, I said. We stopped. Taylor knelt. Deacons double-checked his mag. I stepped around a twisted root and crouched. The soil looked stirred, not dug up, dragged. Smooth arcs, crate-sized, cutting through the leaves. Sir? Rios asked. I pressed a hand to the dirt. Cold. Too cold for jungle ground. Mooney, I said. Something's not lining up. He came up beside me, pulled his barometer. Pressure drop, he said. Fast one. Feels like I walked into a damn freezer, Jenkins muttered. I flipped open my notebook. Birds gone. GPS out. Pressure drop. Jungle feels wrong. Then I saw it. Ahead, just beyond a curtain of vines. Something shimmered, like heat mirage. A wall that didn't belong. Then it flickered and was gone. Forward, I said. Slow. Eyes up. We moved. No more trail. No more map. The jungle wasn't resisting us anymore. It was letting us in, and whatever was ahead didn't need to be found. It wanted to be seen. The jungle opened like a trapdoor. 1 minute we were cutting through vines and branches. The next we were standing at the edge of a clearing we hadn't seen coming. No thinning trees, no slope, just bam. Open space, clean, flattened, silent, and in the center of it floated the triangle. Not flying, not hovering like a chopper, just suspended, perfectly still, 10 feet off the ground. It was matte black, so black it looked like it swallowed light. No reflection, no markings. It didn't shine. It erased. 3 flawless sides, angles so precise they hurt to look at. No wings, no engines, no heat.
I can tell you from our point of view, it's something that just looked very unnatural and abnormal, and that's what got our curiosity to go investigate this.
Around it were men, 8 of them, black gear, visors over their faces, body armor molded like it had been printed, not issued. No flags, no patches, no language. They were unloading crates, steel, vented, 4 feet long, 2 men per crate, one after another, carried up a ramp that extended from the belly of the craft. No yelling, no signals, just movement, precise, practiced.
I still to this day don't know who they are. But the way that these guys moved was so fluid, it was so still, it was very, very, very smooth. These guys have done it for a while because of how smooth this operation was. They actually came from the flanks, but it was more of a diagonal. For them, at a tactical advantage, they have interlocking fields of fire on every single person, and they had a team of 8.
Disciplined, deliberate. Then came the rumble. A beefed-up, militarized F-150 growled forward, hauling a steel-clad container on a trailer. It climbed the ramp with ease, halted, and with a mechanical hiss, the trailer detached cleanly, locked in place like it belonged there. A hand pressed through a vent slot from inside. Pale, trembling, human. I sucked in a breath. Beside me, Taylor hissed, "Jesus Christ." "Those people?" Mooney asked. Not really a question, not really expecting an answer. Jenkins raised his rifle slightly. I tapped it back down. "Easy," I whispered. I raised my binoculars. The ramp glowed with that same soft white light, clinical, cold. The interior of the craft didn't look like a cargo hold. It looked like a surgical theater, but not ours. I scanned the men. No one looked up. No one hesitated. Rios reached for his radio. He slapped his wrist. They'll hear it, the earth beneath our boots. It didn't feel like jungle soil anymore. It was too firm, too smooth, like it had been cleaned. Then the tallest one stopped mid-step and turned. I don't know how, but he knew we were there. He raised his arm and pointed directly at us. 4 of them peeled off and came toward us, weapons low, movements steady. No shouting, no rush. "Fall back," I said. Now, they were already on us.
There's no tactical advantage being in this situation because you don't have cover. It's jungle. You have concealment, but this kind of concealment with vegetation is not bulletproof.
They moved like machines, quiet, exact, deliberate, rifles across their chests. The lead man stopped 10 feet from me.
We kind of knew, and they started yelling at us. "You're not supposed to fucking be here. What the fuck are you guys doing here? Who the fuck are you with?" You know, so they knew. They were using the kind of lingo that we were using too, especially in the military. So it made me think that at some point, these guys actually were uniformed military at one point. So it's just like American dialects, how you and I were talking. At one point, they said they were gonna smoke us. They could throw us out of a helicopter. It's very easy to get lost in the jungle out here.
People disappear all the time out here. It's not a warning. It's a fact.
"Drop your weapons," he said. Calm, American accent. Mooney stepped forward. "We're United States Marines." "We know," the man said. Jenkins didn't move. I said, "Drop 'em," the man repeated. I gave the signal. One by one, we placed our rifles down. No sudden moves. The air felt charged, like static before a lightning strike. I raised my hands. "What is this?" "Not your concern," the man replied. "You're on foreign soil. You're detaining U.S. personnel." "We're not detaining you." Then he pulled something from his vest, a device the size of a deck of cards, matte black. One button. He pressed it. My brain locked up. It wasn't a sound. Not really. It was something that filled my skull like expanding foam, pressure behind the eyes, static under the skin. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe, like my mind was glitching. Behind me, Taylor hit the ground. Rios staggered sideways, coughing. Then it stopped. The world snapped back into focus like someone lifted a filter. The triangle began to hum, deep, low, felt through my bones more than my ears. It rose, straight up, no jet wash, no rumble, just smooth, impossible lift. It vanished into the clouds like it was never there. The operatives didn't watch it leave. They just turned, retrieved our weapons, and started walking away, like we were nothing, like we never mattered. We got back to base at dusk. No one was waiting. No medics, no officer, just a cluster of black SUVs we hadn't seen before. They split us up instantly. I got pulled into a partitioned section of the mess tent. No insignias, no names, just two men in civilian clothes and cold eyes. They didn't ask questions. They recited facts.
You were assigned to a recon trail northeast of here.
You completed your route. You observed nothing unusual. You are now returning to Okinawa.
That's the record. I said nothing. One of them slid a paper across the table. A non-disclosure agreement. 2 pages. Threats in small print. "You sign this," the other one said, "and you move on. No complications, no reviews, no consequences. If I don't, then we go down a different path. The one where your clearance is stripped, your file is flagged, and your future becomes very quiet, very fast." I signed. We all did. They returned our gear. Wiped. Phones bricked. Notebooks gone. Except one. I had torn out a page before the hike and hidden it in my boot. The sketch of the triangle, the crates, the ramp, the people in the containers. I added one word beneath it. Silenced. I left the Corps not long after. No parade, no ceremony, just silence. Civilian life felt fake, like acting in a play with no script. I got work, contract jobs, security gigs, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I kept notebooks, diagrams, cross-sections, estimates. That triangle haunted me, not because it existed, but because nobody else was talking about it. Late at night, I'd stare at forms, scrolling for patterns, looking for that shape. Once on a layover in Houston, I saw a news clip. Someone in Arizona had filmed 3 lights in a triangle pattern, hovering in perfect formation. It blinked out in a single frame. I locked myself in an airport bathroom and tried not to throw up. That's when I knew. I wasn't afraid it would happen again. I was afraid it never stopped. It started with a podcast, a guy talking about deep black programs, military assets run off books, hidden inside humanitarian cover-ups. My heart kicked when he said the words, triangular craft, matte black, gravity defying. I sent him a message. Didn't use my name, just coordinates, year, basic description. He replied in 2 hours. "You're not the first. We set up an interview." I didn't expect it to matter, but it did. The clip went viral. Then the phone started ringing.
My life doesn't get lavish because of what I'm doing today and what I've been doing. It becomes hell. We have gotten a point in our life where they get so disturbed with things, but they don't do anything about it. They want other people to do it. Oh, I'm unhappy with the situation. Well, fucking change it or help change it. That's what we're trying to do.
First reporters, then threats. You're confused. You're being watched. There are people who clean this kind of mess. Then came the job loss. Security clearance revoked. A guy in a windbreaker sat outside my apartment for 3 nights in a row. Never said a word, just watched. And the strangest part, it didn't scare me because I wasn't crazy anymore. I was real. The emails came slow but steady. Other veterans, they'd seen it too. Afghanistan, Sudan, Haiti, always after disaster, always silent ops, always the triangle, always people going missing. The stories lined up too neatly to ignore. The triangle wasn't a mystery anymore. It was infrastructure. Someone had the tech. Someone was using it. And they weren't saving lives. They were extracting them. For what? No one knew. The shape, the silence, the mirrored visors. They were everywhere, once you knew what to look for. I tried telling journalists. Most didn't call back. The ones who did wanted aliens. I gave them black budgets. They weren't interested. It wasn't fantastic enough for them. It was only terrifying. Because it was human. I went back. 15 years later, I walked that trail again. Alone. The jungle had changed. Roads paved. Buildings built. But when I reached that spot, I felt it. No birds. No bugs. Just a quiet like cotton in my ears. The clearing was gone. But the depression in the soil was still there. Like the land remembered. I stood in the center. and pulled out the page I'd carried all these years. The triangle, the crate, the hand. I drew one more line. Returned. Still here. Not the craft, not the men, but the echo. And sometimes, that's louder than the original sound. I don't need you to believe me. I just need you to know.
I've had numerous encounters with fucking helicopters hovering over my house. They were hovering over my dad's house. They get so low where they rattle the walls.
Breaking news. A crashed UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon,